This is DRF, Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Friday, September the 24th, one of two stakes races at Belmont. Let's throw up the field for race number 3. It's the $125,000 Ashley T. Cole Stakes. We're going 1 mile and an eighth on the inner turf, and you can download free Formulator Pass performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. 3 jokers, the 5, Tiergan the 6, entered main track only. City Man, even money after nipping Therapist last time out in the West Point. And Mike, the West Point was the day, that New York Stallion Showcase Day at Saratoga, and I really rushed to get my work done so I could drive on up to Saratoga and spend the second half of the card with you. And when I got there, the first thing you said wasn't, "How are you?" or "You're looking well," or "How was the drive?" It was, "I'm done with Therapist." Are you still done with Therapist?
Yes, sir. I am done with Therapist, especially in this race, I think, Dan. Mostly because, I've never really thought he's a horse who gets better going longer. And also just because, last time, I've been chasing this horse for a while. I think you were on him last time as well. Boy, if he was going to get a win, over a longer distance around 2 turns, I felt like that was it. There was a pretty contested pace in front of him that day in the West Point. He ran well, but he didn't get there.
And it might be a different scenario from a pace standpoint here. Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Short field, gray bar, no speed. And that's an advantage for City Man, who has come from off the pace in the past, but probably has a little bit more tactical speed, especially at this longer distance, than a horse like Therapist.
Yeah, I think that could be the key to this race too, Dan. You're really down to in this race. It's a 5-horse field. 4 of them ran in the West Point most recently. And it just sort of feels like, I think basically all of them are probably better from off the pace, but it does feel like City Man is the more tactical of those 4 horses. And he might just find himself on the lead here. He's another horse who I'm not totally convinced that he wants to go 9 furlongs, but in this kind of scenario, I think he's going to get it.
Let's watch the stretch drive of the West Point. Both City Man and Therapist did good trips. City Man was in the pocket, gets to the outside. Right in behind was Therapist, who was far behind this fast pace and somehow got the rail seam. And from here, it's those 2 down to the wire, and City Man just wanted it a little bit more. Great ride from both riders.
Yeah, just a little bit better City Man this year. He saw him jump to his wrong lead there, so it's going to be close at the end, but it's sort of, from about the 8th pole to the wire, always looked like he was going to hold on. He did hold on. I thought Therapist ran fine in there, Dan, but as you have already pointed out, he got a great ride that day from Irad Ortiz, and he just, came up a little bit short at the end. And again, now he has to go 9 furlongs in a slower paced race. I just don't see how that helps him.
Shouldn't we expect major improvement from the 3 graded on a curve who we just saw finish 4th in the West Point? Yes, the pace was there for him, but was also his first start in about 10 months. He might have needed the race, and he came back with a Beyer speed figure comparable to what he was running late last year as a 4-year-old. If you believe he moves forward second off the layoff, he's got a big shot. He just needs to stay within range.
Yeah, that's a reasonable way to look at the race for sure. We'll see. I personally feel like he does have to improve, though, to beat the 2 Clement horses and maybe even the horse on the outside, Sanctuary City. So we'll see if he can do that in a race that isn't going to set up very well for his running style. But yeah, he actually ran fine last time, considering he was off of a pretty long layoff.
Talk about a horse that could be up against it from a race flow standpoint. That's the 4. Lord Flincher. Let's watch his last race against open allowance, but starter allowance foes. And this horse just has no early speed whatsoever. He's rallying from way out of it. He's going to get up for second. This is a useful horse that when you give him pace, he could come with a good, strong run, but he is taking a significant step up in class. And again, I'm not sure he's the best closer in the field.
Yeah, he probably isn't. I like this horse, actually. I think he's in really good form. I just don't see how you can bet him in this race.
Next 2 are main track only, so we'll conclude with the 7 Sanctuary City, another one who fell behind that hot pace in the West Point. He got up for 3rd that day. He's really done well against New York breds. I think that Jimmy Ferraro has found this horse's niche against these type of horses. Again, does it all come down to pace for a horse that just seemingly doesn't have a lot of early gas at all?
Yeah, it's a big problem for this horse, who's actually very good. I think he's a little bit underrated too. He's another one who ran fine in the West Point, but of course the West Point was a race that set up much better for his running style. He was on the outside. We saw in that replay there, his therapist got right up the rail. So in a lot of ways, this horse probably ran a comparable race to at least Therapist and probably City Man. I just don't know what kind of trip he can get in here, Dan. Maybe they'll, it's Carmouche. Maybe he'll just try to get this horse a little bit more forwardly placed. And if he can keep himself within range coming to the stretch, he's a pretty strong finisher. I won't be surprised if he's a factor at the end.
Let's throw up our top selections. It really is a fascinating race from a pace standpoint. If you believe the pace projector, City Man could be setting glacial fractions, turns it into a sprint for home, and is able to hold them all off. I'm going to give Therapist one more chance. He did fall a little behind in that race. He came up the rail. No excuses for him. And you might be right. Maybe a mile and an eighth is too far. Slightly better price again than City Man.
Yeah, slightly better price too. I can't go back to him after the last one, Dan. I needed him in there, and I didn't see his excuse. I don't love City Man. I thought about putting Sanctuary City on top. I just feel like, the way this race projects to play out, and maybe it'll be different, but the way it projects to play out feels like a big advantage for the two.
2713 for Mike, 1273 for me. It's the Ashley T. Cole. It's one of two stakes races at Belmont on Friday. Good luck.